When night falls over the tropical rainforest, the forest does not sleep. It transforms. Heat lingers in the leaves, moisture thickens the air, and a second ecosystem awakens above the forest floor. In this vertical world of branches and shadows lives the kinkajou, an animal so perfectly adapted to darkness that daylight almost seems foreign to it. The kinkajou is rarely seen, not because it is scarce, but because it exists on a different schedule than most life around it. While birds announce the dawn and monkeys dominate the daylight canopy, the kinkajou waits. As the sun disappears and the forest dims, it emerges silently, its movements fluid, deliberate, and nearly invisible. Often mistaken for a monkey due to its agile climbing and long tail, the kinkajou belongs to the family Procyonidae, making it a relative of raccoons and coatis. This lineage reflects a deep evolutionary history shaped not by speed or strength, but by adaptability and sensory mastery. The kinkajou did not evolve to conquer territory, it evolved to occupy a niche few others could exploit, the nocturnal canopy. Its physical design reflects this specialization. Large forward-facing eyes dominate the face, optimized for low-light vision. A reflective layer behind the retina enhances sensitivity to minimal light, allowing the kinkajou to navigate branches with confidence even under dense canopy cover. In darkness, where depth perception becomes unreliable for most animals, the kinkajou moves as if guided by memory itself. The tail is one of its most defining features. Fully prehensile, muscular, and flexible, it functions as an additional limb. The kinkajou can hang entirely by its tail, freeing its hands to manipulate fruit, grip branches, or stabilize itself during movement. This tail is not a novelty, it is the foundation of its arboreal lifestyle. Movement through the canopy is slow but precise. Unlike animals that leap recklessly between branches, the kinkajou tests each grip, distributes its weight carefully, and advances with measured confidence. This method conserves energy and minimizes noise, an essential trait in a world where predators and competitors listen as closely as they watch. Diet shapes much of the kinkajou's behavior. Primarily frugivorous, it feeds on ripe fruit high in sugars and water content. This diet provides both energy and hydration, reducing the need to descend to the forest floor, where danger increases dramatically. When fruit is scarce, the kinkajou supplements its diet with nectar, insects, and small vertebrates, displaying opportunistic flexibility within a specialized framework. Feeding behavior positions the kinkajou as a critical seed disperser. Fruits consumed high in the canopy are later deposited across wide areas of the forest, promoting plant diversity and regeneration. Many tropical plant species depend on nocturnal dispersers like the kinkajou to complete their reproductive cycles. Socially, kinkajous occupy an unusual middle ground. They are not strictly solitary, nor are they highly social. Small groups may share overlapping territories, particularly related females, but interactions are limited and often brief. Vocal communication plays a larger role than visual cues in the darkness. High-pitched calls, whistles, and soft chirps maintain contact without revealing precise location. Reproduction follows the rhythm of the rainforest rather than fixed seasons. Females give birth to a single offspring after a relatively long gestation period. The young clings to its mother as she moves through the canopy, learning routes, food sources, and safe resting sites through prolonged observation. Development is slow, emphasizing learning over instinct. Predators of the kinkajou include large owls, arboreal snakes, and occasionally jaguars when the animal descends too low. Rather than relying on speed, the kinkajou avoids detection altogether. Its coloration blends with bark and leaves, and its movements lack the sudden bursts that draw attention. Despite its effectiveness, the kinkajou remains vulnerable to changes beyond its control. Deforestation fragments canopy pathways, forcing descents that expose the animal to new dangers. Artificial lighting disrupts nocturnal behavior, while the exotic pet trade removes individuals from already stressed populations. Yet within intact forests, the kinkajou persists, almost unchanged. Its survival is not dramatic, not visible, and not loud. It is quiet mastery, life-shaped to fit perfectly within shadow and leaf. To truly understand the kinkajou, one must abandon daylight logic. In the nocturnal canopy, survival is not dictated by speed or size, but by perception. Vision, balance, memory, and restraint matter more than raw power. The kinkajou is not a hunter of chaos, it is a navigator of complexity. Night vision defines its world. The kinkajou's eyes are proportionally large, positioned forward to enhance depth perception in low light. A reflective layer behind the retina amplifies faint illumination, allowing the animal to detect subtle contrasts among leaves, branches, and shadows. Moonlight filtering through the canopy becomes a map rather than an obstacle. Where humans see darkness, the kinkajou sees structure. Hearing complements sight. Large, rounded ears capture high-frequency sounds that reveal insect movement, rustling leaves, or distant calls from other animals. This auditory awareness allows the kinkajou to anticipate danger rather than react to it. Silence is not emptiness, it is information. Smell completes the sensory triad. Fruit ripeness, territorial markers, and individual recognition all depend on olfactory cues. In a rainforest where visual signals are unreliable at night, scent becomes a stable language. Trails of memory form, guiding repeated routes through the canopy night after night. Movement is deliberate and economical. The kinkajou does not leap blindly. It tests branches, redistributes weight, and uses its tail as an anchor. This tail is not merely prehensile, it is intelligent. Muscular control allows fine adjustments mid-movement, preventing falls and conserving energy. In this vertical environment, a fall is not a mistake, it is often fatal. Unlike primates that rely on social learning and daylight visibility, kinkajous depend heavily on spatial memory. Individuals memorize complex three-dimensional routes through trees, returning to the same feeding sites across vast territories. These mental maps persist over years, reducing exploration risk and maximizing efficiency. Dietary strategy reflects this precision. Fruits chosen are not random, they are selected for sugar content, water availability, and accessibility. By feeding high in the canopy, kinkajous avoid competition with ground-dwelling mammals and reduce predator exposure. Nectar feeding further supports hydration and positions the kinkajou as a nocturnal pollinator, a role still underappreciated by science. When insects or small vertebrates are consumed, it is not opportunism alone but necessity. Seasonal fluctuations in fruit availability require flexibility within limits. The kinkajou does not abandon its core strategy, it supplements it. This balance prevents dependence on any single resource. Social interactions remain restrained. Encounters are brief, vocal, and non-confrontational. High-pitched calls maintain spacing and prevent conflict in darkness where physical confrontation is costly. Mothers and offspring maintain stronger bonds, with young remaining dependent longer than many similar-sized mammals. This extended learning period reflects the complexity of canopy navigation. Reproductive investment is high. Females give birth to a single offspring, rarely more. Energy is directed towards survival quality rather than quantity. In environments where mistakes are lethal, fewer, better prepared offspring outperform larger litters. The kinkajou's ecological role extends beyond seed dispersal. By moving between flowering trees at night, it facilitates genetic exchange across plant populations. Its feeding patterns influence which species thrive in the upper canopy, shaping forest composition subtly but persistently. Predators adapt to hunt in this space, but the kinkajou remains elusive. Large owls rely on sound, arboreal snakes depend on ambush. The kinkajou counters both by unpredictability and awareness. It does not outrun danger, it avoids being detected. Human influence intrudes quietly but decisively. Canopy fragmentation forces kinkajous to descend, exposing them to terrestrial predators and human threats. Light pollution disrupts circadian rhythms, altering feeding times and increasing risk. Even selective logging can sever routes memorized over generations. Despite this, kinkajous persist in intact forests, their presence signaling healthy nocturnal ecosystems. Where they disappear, imbalance follows, reduced seed dispersal, altered plant regeneration, and simplified canopy dynamics. The kinkajou is not a symbol of dominance. It is a symbol of alignment, with darkness, with height, with restraint. Its intelligence is not loud. It does not build tools or command attention. It survives by fitting perfectly into a narrow slice of reality. As the night deepens, the rainforest hums softly. The kinkajou moves again, unseen, unhurried. Its life unfolds above the forest floor, suspended between leaves and shadows, sustained by memory and balance. The future of the kinkajou is inseparable from the fate of the tropical rainforest itself. Unlike animals that roam across open landscapes or adapt easily to human-modified environments, the kinkajou exists within a narrow vertical corridor of life, the canopy. This space, suspended between earth and sky, is both its sanctuary and its vulnerability. Rainforests are often described as resilient, but this resilience is conditional. It depends on continuity, of trees, of darkness, of silence. When the canopy is fractured, the kinkajou's world collapses not gradually, but instantly. A single missing connection between trees can turn a safe route into a deadly descent. Deforestation does not need to be total to be catastrophic. Selective logging removes specific tree species that produce key fruits or flowers. Over time, these absences ripple outward, altering feeding routes memorized across generations. The kinkajou does not simply find another way. Its survival strategy depends on predictability. When predictability disappears, efficiency fails. Artificial light represents another invisible threat. Streetlights, industrial sites, and expanding settlements bleed illumination into forest edges, erasing the darkness kinkajous depend on. Nocturnal vision evolved for low-light environments, not perpetual twilight. Increased visibility favors predators, disrupts circadian rhythms, and alters feeding schedules with cascading effects. Climate change intensifies these pressures. Altered rainfall patterns shift fruiting seasons, creating temporal mismatches between food availability and reproductive timing. Extreme weather events damage canopy structure, tearing apart the three-dimensional highways kinkajous rely upon. Recovery is uneven, and specialization becomes a liability. The exotic pet trade introduces yet another fracture. Kinkajous, with their large eyes and gentle appearance, are often captured illegally and sold as novelties. Removed from the forest, they suffer psychologically and physically. Removed from the ecosystem, their absence weakens seed dispersal networks and nocturnal pollination pathways. Conservation efforts for kinkajous face a paradox. The animal is not endangered globally, yet its populations decline silently where forests degrade. This ambiguity reduces urgency. Protection is often reactive rather than preventative, focusing on visible loss rather than structural integrity. Indigenous knowledge systems offer a contrasting approach. Long before scientific classification, indigenous peoples recognized the importance of nocturnal animals in maintaining forest balance. Night was not empty, it was active. Protection extended beyond species to rhythms, of light, of growth, of movement. Modern conservation increasingly aligns with this perspective. Preserving canopy connectivity, reducing light pollution, and protecting fruiting tree diversity prove more effective than species-specific interventions. When the system is protected, the kinkajou survives without further assistance. Scientifically, the kinkajou represents a lesson in evolutionary precision. It did not evolve redundancy. It did not prepare for every contingency. It evolved to fit perfectly within a stable complexity. Such organisms are not weak, they are refined. But refinement demands respect for limits. The kinkajou's role in the rainforest is quiet yet essential. As a seed disperser and pollinator, it maintains genetic flow across plant populations. Its absence simplifies forests, reducing resilience and biodiversity. Complexity, once lost, is difficult to restore. As the night progresses, the kinkajou continues its movement through branches and leaves. It does not recognize borders, laws, or economics. It responds only to signals embedded in its biology: darkness, scent, memory, balance. At dawn, it retreats again into concealment. To human eyes, the forest appears unchanged. Yet beneath this illusion, countless interactions have occurred. Seeds have traveled, flowers have been pollinated, systems have adjusted. The kinkajou does not ask to be saved. It does not announce its presence or demand attention. Its survival depends not on intervention, but on restraint, on allowing darkness to remain dark, forests to remain connected, and time to move at its natural pace. In an age obsessed with visibility, the kinkajou reminds us that some of the most important lives unfold unseen. That survival is not always loud. That balance often hides in shadow. As long as rainforests retain the vertical integrity and nights remain truly dark, the kinkajou will persist, moving silently through leaves, carrying seeds, sustaining systems older than civilization itself. Its story is not a warning screamed into the void. It is a whisper, and like all whispers, it demands that we stop moving, stop shining light everywhere, and listen.